6 years ago, the destiny of Jammu and Kashmir changed forever. Article 370 got abrogated, its special status got ended, and there was deprivation of statehood. Recently, after 6 years, there is a growing call for restoration of statehood. But here lies the very important question, that if a region can run without an elected legislature for 5 years, is it a state in spirit? Doesn't it violate the principles of cooperative federalism? Is converting a full functional state into a union territory undermines the principles of representative democracy? We have to think on this. Hello friends, my name is Uttam Kumar Verma and you're watching StudyIQ English. Today we'll be discussing that why Article 370 is back in news and why there is a growing call for restoration of statehood of Jammu and Kashmir. So we need to understand the timeline first, where on August 5, 2019, there was abrogation of Article 370 and its special status got revoked. After that, there was reorganization of Jammu and Kashmir in 2019, which bifurcated Jammu and Kashmir into two union territories, Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and Union Territory of Ladakh. After that, in December 2023, Supreme Court upholded the abrogation of Article 370 and Union government gave assurance that there will be restoration of the statehood at the earliest. Supreme Court also directed assembly elections or state elections by September 2024. After that, in October 2024, Jammu and Kashmir elections were held. After that, there is a growing call for restoration of statehood, where petitioners are demanding that we need to fix timeline for the restoration of statehood. Before going forward, we need to understand a brief about Article 370. So, Article 370 was added in 1949 in Jammu and Kashmir, and in that, Parliament could only legislate on defense, foreign affairs as well as communication. It provided much autonomy to Jammu and Kashmir. Now, it represented asymmetric federalism. It means more power wherewith states or Jammu and Kashmir. It represented the unique history and unique polity of Jammu and Kashmir. Now, abrogation was a shift from negotiated autonomy within Article 70 to constitutional integration of Jammu and Kashmir into India. It also ended the psychological alienation or psychological isolation of Jammu and Kashmir and ensuring all the uniform rights, all the uniform duties are implemented in Jammu and Kashmir. It integrated Jammu and Kashmir with India. It has led to some positive outcomes. For example, stone pelting incidents has been on the drop. Separatists have been disbanded. There is militancy violence, which is lowest in decades. Hurriyat got dismantled. Now, there was also tourism boom, where around 2 crore visitors on an average are coming to Jammu and Kashmir every year. It also led to tulip economy boom, where tulip gardens are visited by the most Indians. It also led to huge investment flow, where around 80,000 crore rupees were poured in Jammu and Kashmir for the development. It also led to improvement in connectivity, road and rail. For example, Katra-Srinagar link. It has improved the accessibility of Kashmir and integrated Kashmir with the rest of India. Fine. However, there are some concerns that it has led to representative deficit, because there is dual power center now, one with elected CM and one with the appointee of center, which is lieutenant governor. Now, there is representative deficit, whereas this union territory model represents or limits basically legislative autonomy, and the elected CM feels subordinate to the lieutenant governor in key governance areas. There is political alienation, where there is absence of clear roadmap for when this statehood will be restored. The Pahalgam terror attack shows that militancy attack happens. Militancy has been declined, but it is also happening. It has not been fully eradicated, because security control is under central government, and it is limiting the local government influence. It is limiting the soft power of local government. Fine. So there is growing call for statehood. You can see on 5th of August, there was presidential order which abrogated Article 370 and which reorganized Jammu and Kashmir into two parts, into two union territories, into Kashmir and Ladakh. Now, what is important for you is you need to know this, that under Article 3, Parliament can do that. Parliament can reorganize or readjust internal boundaries of India. So, Parliament can reorganize states. However, federalism is a core part. Federalism is a basic structure of the Constitution. So, you cannot deprive federalism or federal structure for long. So, you can see the current tussle is between, due to dual power center of elected CM Omar Abdullah versus Lieutenant Governor, and it is creating friction. And who is bearing the brunt? The local people. Because you can see in many instances CM has been sidelined. Now there is a growing call for statehood by every political party. The resolution have been passed in Jammu and Kashmir Assembly, in the cabinet meetings, and there has been protest planned for the 6th anniversary. And what is Centre saying? Centre is saying that we will provide statehood but at an appropriate time. So Centre is not given any kind of fixed timeline. What is more concerning is the lifelines of the governance, like the police, like the public order. It is within the reach of Lieutenant Governor. So elected government or elected assembly can do nothing about it. Now the real question arises that why statehood matters? Because it is for the democratic legitimacy. Because in a democracy we need accountability. And Lieutenant Governor is not accountable to the people but accountable to Centre. Now this UT model, where it provides overriding powers to Lieutenant Governor, which is a Centre's appointee, and it is not with the elected CM. So real powers does not lie with the elected CM. These police, public order and the land, which are critical subjects, which are very vital subjects in governance, is under Centre's exclusive control. And without any kind of full statehood, the popular will is diluted and it undermines the basic structure. It undermines the basic structure of federalism. It undermines the principles of representative democracy. Now, federalism and balance of power. Because you see, India's federalism as of now, we are moving towards cooperative federalism. At core, we are quasi-federal, no doubt, but we are moving towards cooperative federalism, where state and center both are playing equal role, coming together and cooperating with each other, coordinating with each other for the development. Now, if you are not giving statehood, then it is undermining the principle of cooperative federalism. Article 239A, which provides union territory with legislature, was meant for special cases, for example Delhi, for example Puducherry. But the case of Jammu and Kashmir is different, so that it cannot be prolonged. The restoration of statehood should happen at the earliest. And to ensure that there is political stability, to ensure that there is trust between Jammu and Kashmir people and the central government, we need to provide statehood. Because prolonged union territory status sustains a mistrust or trust deficit between center and local population. So restoration signals confidence in democratic institutions, which will reduce their alienation from India. It has also created dual power centers. Not restoring statehood has created dual power center between elected CM as well as Lieutenant Governor. It has led to administrative bottlenecks, where the local issues which can be solved at the earliest by elected government is or are delayed because center's clearance. There is administrative centralization, where administrative powers are concentrated with bureaucracy and not with the local government. So bureaucracy has a more power there. What are the other impacts you can see? People will feel alienated, where local leaders sees UT status or union territory status a step down in their dignity. Right? So you can see there is psychological perception from a special status to a downgrade in the state is kind of step down in the dignity. It has led to weak political participation, where public perceives limited value in electing a legislature because they do not have real powers. The real power lies with lieutenant governor, who is the appointee of center. It has led to reduced local accountability because UT administration is accountable to center rather than public. You can see, though there are short-term gains, you can see the militancy has been declining since the abrogation of Article 370. However, there is long-term risk because if the grievances of people are not handled well, they can be exploited by anti-national elements, evident by Pahalgam attack, where some locals were also involved. We need the participation of elected government to clear developmental bottlenecks because there are delays in tailoring schemes which is tailored to local socio-economic realities, which are tailored to local population. And there is psychological alienation, the risk of psychological alienation, as there is a shift from special treatment of Jammu and Kashmir from Article 370 to permanent downgrade of union territory. So there is a growing call. What does center say? Center is saying that union status or union territory status has helped center to consolidate peace. So we need to consolidate peace before restoring full statehood. And center is also of the view that we need stronger security oversight due to the nature of Jammu and Kashmir sharing borders with Pakistan. And there is developmental push needs which is taken by center, and it needs centralized execution to avoid local political disruptions. So the counter view of the center is that peace and development gains are only sustainable with political legitimacy because we are in a parliamentary system. When the leaders are accountable to people, it gains trust and people will participate in democracy. And that's how a representative democracy works. And that's how the principle of federalism works. Excessive centralization by the center can erode public ownership of the governance. If people will not participate, then who are we schemes? Who are the schemes making for? Then the restoration of statehood would strengthen India's federal image at the international level, and it will counter the narrative of democratic backsliding. So, at last, we need to restore statehood at the earliest. We need to fix a timeline because it will uphold the principle of representative democracy and it will also address local aspirations. We need to provide a clear roadmap where center must commit or where center must communicate as a big brother to state, right, to avoid any kind of perpetual uncertainty. Center need to ensure there are confidence building measures using political outreach of political leaders, economic inclusion, where elected assembly is involved in the developmental and planning policies, and also cultural respect to bridge any kind of trust deficit. So at last, the prolonged denial of statehood, despite visible improvement in security, right, undermines the principles of federalism. And this is not just about Jammu and Kashmir. It is about the center and each and every single state. The balance of power between center and each and every state. So we need to protect the statehood or integrity of federalism. Restoring statehood would not weaken any kind of integration, but it would fulfill integration. It would lead to emotional integration. It would lead to aligning constitutional form with the constitutional spirit. Because in a democracy, true stability is not from the control but from trust. Though constitutional legitimacy is necessary, but the political consent is important. So, at last, I'm leaving you with one question which came in UPSC. According to Article 3 of the Constitution, the Parliament may by law declare war on any country, alter the boundaries of any state, increase the area of any state, or establish an autonomous council within any state. Select the correct answer. So tell us in comments below. Thank you.